Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the 63rd episode of the Stateside Report UK. I'm your host, Stateside Gab. As always, I'm joined by Mr. OKC, Mr. Asna. His team is losing tomorrow in the champs. It's Stateside Humph. How are you doing? Good, sir.
Hey, not too bad.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we don't do these podcasts on the weekend because there's that one video someone was like, what happened when you got your heart broken? And so the guy was like, I did everything but die. That last minute buzzer beater at Aston Villa against Unai
When,
Emery.
yeah,
Oh
for the
my
game.
God.
Chat.
Everyone has to get buzzer beaten this season. We'll take ours down before before Christmas, bro. Everyone has to get it.
Yeah, but that one must sting though, because that's a team that could be contending. That's what they say these
Last
days. On a
last
chip.
kick of the game. I'll take a loss. I'll take a loss on the chin, but
Of
losing
the
your
Villa.
18 game unbeaten streak
Of the
to
Villa.
him, Unai Emery. I respect his hate. I do. I do. Like I said, I'm a hater myself. So if his hate drives him to just, oh my God, I'm good. Answer to your question, I'm all good. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal broke my heart,
You know.
ruined my whole weekend. By the way, ruined
I
it
can imagine. I can imagine.
until the Packers. We played the Bears. We owned the Bears. Do you know what I mean? So we salvaged something. You know what I mean? That felt like a
Indeed.
playoff game. I
Yeah.
can't wait for the NFL playoffs now.
That was
What's your
coming
team saying?
close. Yeah, it's
Your
coming
team
close.
win?
Oh, of course they did. The
Are you
call.
nine? Are you lot 9-4? How? How have you done that then,
Suddenly the Super Bowl's is looking quite clear. You know what I mean? Off. It's
bro? You
looking
guys
quite clear.
haven't been. You guys haven't been there for so long. I don't even know. Are you in the NFC, AFC?
AFC.
You're in the AFC.
Yeah, matey. The
You
Chiefs.
lot.
Who are they? You know, they might
The
not even
Chiefs
make it.
stink.
They might not even make it.
I doubt they will. I mean, could they make wild card?
Wild card at best. At best, they ain't gonna win the division. Tough times. Broncos are a good team, mate. Good team.
They're a good team. I think we got them next week. Wow.
I think you'll put hands on them still. I do.
Yeah.
Patty Mahomes will do a thing, but the rest of them, I'm not sure what they're on right now. You know.
NFL is set up perfectly. Do you know what I mean? NFL is set up perfectly.
Well, we had a conversation, and we'll probably bleed into it a little bit later, actually, in regards to NBA and NFL popularity. But for now, let's get into some NBA chat. A bit of a quiet week, regardless, but there's still some talking points that me and Stateside Huff can rattle through within the next hour of this recording. Some bits and bobs doing the rounds at the minute. Chris Paul has said that he is at peace after being cut, released, whatever you want to call it, by the Los Angeles Clippers.
Got sent home.
Sent home. Dark. In the middle of the night, by the way. Dark. The New Orleans Pelicans are reportedly listening to trade offers for Zion Williamson. And LeBron James, of course. There's only one LeBron, of course. Well, Bronny is also called LeBron.
Oh, there's two.
Yeah.
There's two.
He's
The other LeBron.
called. I know, right? He's called the 2017-18 season the peak, the best year of his career. Now, of course, as we always do, we're just going to go through all of these. It's been a week. We last recorded with Paige last week. Go listen to that episode if you haven't. Crazy Bucks fan.
Shut up, Paige.
Great chat that we had, of course. We spoke about a lot of Bucks conversations in that chat. And literally, a day later, the NBA was shooken by the news that was coming out of LA in regarding Chris Paul being, as you said, sent home, officially cut and released by the Los Angeles Clippers. He's, as they said, blows his nose. He can't believe what's going on. He has to get the lurgies.
The flu has got me in a blender.
I can imagine, mate. You're
Good
getting mixed
God.
up, crossed over. Bloody
I'm
hell.
telling you, when you're not a spring chicken anymore, these little niggling, hey.
Right, matey.
But the
Well,
show must go on.
Exactly, mate. Exactly, because this is exactly what the Clippers see in Chris Paul right now. He's just a niggling nuisance. Because as all reports have said, headbutting with Ty Lue, allegedly not getting along with many people outside of Kawhi Leonard as well, rubbing some people the wrong way. And this has been a thing over Chris Paul's career. His leadership style has always been a question mark and not always been everybody's cup of tea. However, Stateside time. If I could pick the picture for you, you know very well, but somebody might not know. This was supposed to be, a farewell tour. He came into the season already announcing his retirement. Obviously, brought it up again because for some reason people forgot about it, or people, had some sort of expectations of an almost 40-year-old Chris Paul coming to the LA Clippers to wind down his career. This was supposed to be a nice, feel-good kind of storyline. If the Clippers somehow, made the playoffs or somehow had a good enough season to, be in contention for a championship, this was supposed to be, okay, Chris Paul, this is your last chance, hopefully, to put the crowning achievement, the only thing that's really missing on your career, that elusive NBA championship, or at least a shot at one. And now, for, the reasons I laid out earlier, they said, nah, we're taking that away from you. Me personally, Stateside, can't believe it. That's nasty work from everybody involved in the Clippers. And from what I've read as well, not a lot of communication has gone into this decision. Ty Lue hasn't spoke to him about it. Steve Ballmer didn't really speak to him about it as well. It was kind of like they sent somebody to go say, oh, Chris Paul, pack your bags. You're not playing this game. And you know what? Pack your bags because you're not coming back to this facility either. When you heard the news and when you saw, the situation that was laid out in front of you, what was your reaction? Do you think it was fair to Chris Paul?
I mean, it's a little bit disappointing. You know what I mean? How everything's kind of transpired because, Chris Paul's one of the best point guards, one of the best players, one of the best ambassadors for basketball. And for someone that's openly saying, I'm retiring after the season, I mean, it's going to be my farewell tour, whatever it's called. I'm going back home to the Clippers, the team that I made them who they were, in the mid 2010s. I mean, Lob City, all of that stuff. Made history with them, even though they didn't win anything. But still, he done a lot for that team. So then him being sent home and not really playing much. Don't get me wrong, bro. The Clippers I think they've lost 14 out of their last 16 games.
Yeah,
So no one's happy there.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's happy there. So, and Chris Paul is known to be the type that won't shy away from saying how he really feels, say what he thinks. So who knows what he would have said in the background to, I've had them make this decision, but still, it doesn't look good whichever way you slice it. You know what I mean? So it's disappointing. It's disappointing. That was my initial reaction to it. Might have to bring him back home. You know what I mean? Bring him back home to OKC, man. Not to play. Let's not get too carried away now. Get him into the coaching stuff, man. You know what I mean? Get him in Shea's ear a little bit, man, in the playoffs and that. But I think Chris Paul, for what he's done for the game of basketball, it'll be disappointing if he sees out his career in this sort of fashion at home. You know what I mean?
Seems like he didn't get enough, shake, responsibility, playtime, whatever you want to call it. I don't think everybody was really bought in to the idea of Chris Paul returning home, just because, for a myriad of reasons, their focus is to win. Myriad,
Like that.
Where did the day?
Where'd you put that from? Sorry to cut you off. You put that from the top corner,
from the top shelf. Man, get a trim, and now, hey,
you know what?
English comes out.
Proceed. Myriad, I love that.
Thank you, matey, for myriad of reasons. They're trying to compete for a championship. They don't have time for all this sentimental, value. They're still trying to work out a system where, they were so used to James Harden being so ball dominant. Now Kawhi's coming back into the picture. Okay, Chris Paul, where do you fit in all this? Where does your ideas fit in all this as well? Maybe we don't even really care what you're talking about as well. So it's so many reasons as to why, unfortunately, this hasn't worked. It didn't have to end this way. I wish it didn't end this way. However, we'll play a little game, Stateside Tough, in a little bit in regards to, some landing spots and where Chris Paul can eventually end, because I'd like to think that this is not, it. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'll ask you a little bit later in regards to it all. The Pelicans, dear oh dear. If I look at the NBA standings, bottom of the West, 3 wins more than me and you, 22 losses as well. It's not looking good over there. And me and you have had a lot of conversations, as we've come into this early season about Zion Williamson. Naturally, number 1 pick. There was a lot of expectation on him coming out of the draft. Best player, allegedly, on the team as well. That has not stopped the Pelicans at least listening to offers that might be on the table for Zion Williamson. And I think me and you have been a little bit, ahead in regards to what's going on. I remember we put out some videos on the Stateside Report, TikTok, Instagram, all that. And I saw a lot of people, Pelicans fans as well, by the way, saying that there's no point in us trading him. We don't really have our pick. It's a whole situation. We might as well just stick it out with Zion and see where it goes. Well, the Pelicans have different ideas, and me and you said this because I'd like to think that even if you don't, have your pick, and even if you think that, with Zion, it's maybe this, maybe that, I'd like to think if you want to have some sort of, reputation, and you want to foster some sort of culture, foundation, whatever you want to call it, you need to have your best players playing on the court and setting the tone. Zion hasn't done that, unfortunately, since he's entered the league. As unfortunate as it is to say, whether you think it's health, whether you think it's, so I've heard some people say he doesn't really have that love for the game, whether you think it's a mentality issue, he hasn't really set that culture for the Pelicans, for them to really have a platform to really move on and be a successful franchise. They've been a clown show for the whole of his tenure, and it seems like they've had enough. Are they correct in their thinking?
I
Am I
mean,
being
if
harsh?
you're, say that again.
Am I being harsh maybe as well?
No, you're not. You're not being harsh because I share the same sentiment. Because coming out of college in 2019, Zion, the talent that he has or that he had back then, obviously with his body, his athleticism, like what he possessed. I don't think we've seen the full potential of the level that he can reach. I don't think we ever will, unfortunately. Which obviously comes down to what you're saying. Like we start questioning his love for the game, his dedication to it. He might lose the weight coming to off season or training camp in good shape, but then once the season comes around, he gets your little breakaway 360 dunk or whatever, out for 3 weeks. Little hamstring injury, little this injury, he's sitting out for 2 weeks, and then it just start compounding. And then, like I'm saying, as fans, whether you're a Pelicans fan or just an NBA fan in general, you're robbed of a talent. You're robbed of a talent like Zion. Do you know what I mean? I want to see what Zion can do, whether it's at the Pelicans or not. But still, every single week, every couple weeks, you hear about a new injury with Zion. Do you know what I mean? You hear something else, whether it's on the court, off the court. He's just gonna end up turning into one of the biggest what ifs. I mean, when you look at that 2019 draft as well, the talents that come out of that, that could be something that we might have to touch on as well. See, speaking about Jar, that we've always spoken about as well, the potential that these players that we thought they were gonna reach, they just have not reached that, and that's what 6 years prior to coming to the league is disappointing. I mean, there's a level that I think Zion can reach, but I don't think being I don't think you reach it. I don't think you reach it.
Shame as well, but I'll disagree on you in this regard just because I remember there was a similar conversation ish in regards to Blake Griffin. I remember when he got traded from the Clippers and he got traded to Detroit. People said, "Oh, this is the death sentence," just because Lob City unfortunately had ran its course. Uh, Blake Griffin, unfortunately, it just wasn't going to happen for him in LA for loads of reasons as well. Health wise, the team wasn't good enough. Chris Paul got injured quite a lot as well. They never had any money because Blake Griffin made a lot of money in regards to his own cap space situation. But then he went to Detroit, and especially that, I think it was the second season after the trade. Oh man, that was the best Blake Griffin I ever seen.
Was it
So I don't
2018?
know. I want to say it was 2018, 2019. I believe it was as well, that season. And I remember, watching that and thinking, hey, man, sometimes you just got to wait it out and let people really develop and let people age, experience. This might be a situation with Zion, and I don't really want to compare him to Blake Griffin because I think Blake Griffin always, came into the season like in always really good shape. Obviously, you could tell that he was really serious in terms of working on his game, turning into from a post player, athletic guy, into somebody that can handle the ball, pass the ball, score, do everything. And I'd like to think that's a level that Zion can reach. However, does he really want to do that? That's another question for another day.
He's
And
got to stay
maybe
on
a
the
change
court to
in,
be able to do that.
but maybe a change in scenery might be able to, facilitate, help that. Because hearing different voices, seeing different people can go a long way. It did it for Blake Griffin. Why can't it be for Zion?
I mean, that's just you looking at it with a half. I always mix this up. A glass half full sort of
Yeah, yeah. You're
lens.
looking at it glass half empty.
How can I not though? With what he's shown me, do you know what I mean? I've been so optimistic with seeing Zion reach his potential, but he's just not. I don't think he's scratched the surface of what he can do in this league. Do you know what I mean? And that's just very disappointing because when you look at certain players, when you Are they one of one? Are they generational? Zion, with what he, like I said, with his athleticism, his body type, I think he falls, or there's a conversation that he falls into that category of one generational type talent. But
Yes,
like I'm
I agree.
saying, he just has not scratched the surface of what he could do. I think a player like that could dominate the league. But it's just, if we're questioning his love for the game, his injury record, and all of that stuff, like how his game has not improved, it's disappointing. As a fan of the NBA, as a fan of Zion coming out of Duke, I just haven't seen enough. Nowhere near enough.
Last one on this one as well. I saw Derek Queen, uh, triple double, 30-pointer as well, if I'm not
30 point
mistaken.
triple double.
Yep. Is that basically a sign in regards to look? They gave up a lot in regards to get Derek Queen in. Obviously, they drafted him, but they traded up and they gave up their own pick as well to do it. And a lot of people, sniffed at that, thinking, "Poor, this is very expensive. This guy better be decent." At
Right.
least very early doors into the season, of course, and early doors into his career in general. He's not looking like a bad player, is he? Is this potentially them preparing for life outside of Zion and it actually looking pretty good?
I mean, the intention is kind of staring at you in the face. Do you know what I mean? With everything that they've given up to trade up for DQ. So, with the performances that he's putting up, obviously he's not translating to wins just yet, but it's still his first season. Do you know what I mean? You like the progression that he's making, and if you're a Pelicans fan, you're this at least a little bit of a light at the end of this dark tunnel that you've got in New Orleans.
Him, Queen, Jeremiah Fears as well. They got some guys over there.
Yeah,
They got
yeah,
guys. So I'd
they've
like to
got
do
good
believe.
vets
Yes,
with Kevon Looney and
DeAndre Jordan as well.
DeAndre Jordan as well. So
Herb Jones.
it's
Well,
not
Herb Jones is
too
in.
bad.
Herb Jones is in trade talks at the minute as well. Actually, the Lakers, which we'll talk about. Actually, funny
Who
enough, in a
is?
second. Herb Jones, good defender.
Oh yeah,
Good
yeah.
defender. Not much of a 3-point shooter personally. I don't think he's great, but apparently I don't think Aaron Gordon's great, and he's just the best in the league. That's what the fans tell me. I don't know. Still
That's
don't
what
know.
I told you. Lot. That's what I told you in Mars. The other time,
Um, Whatever, can kick rocks. I don't know.
I tell you, man. Maybe I know a thing or two. You know.
Maybe, matey. And then this one was very interesting. It's from the Mind the Game podcast with LeBron, Steve Nash, of course, as well. They were talking, and they got into LeBron James' best year, best moment, peak of his career, and he's called 2018 the best of his career, where he felt the most free. He could do anything on the court, offensively, defensively. It's a very simple question, Stateside. Of that 2018 LeBron James, where you saw regular season and in the playoffs as well, is he cooking? Does he make a point?
Now he definitely does make a point. I mean, LeBron, if everyone would know, obviously, what his body was like, how he felt like he saw the game. Do you know what I mean? Because look, I remember that season. I really liked what the Pacers were doing, so I was hating on LeBron and the Cavs. I really wanted the Pacers to beat them. Obviously, he took them to 7, but it's just the level LeBron played at. He just wasn't. He did not let that Pacers team rest. Do you know what I mean? The level that he played at by himself with the team that he had at his disposal. Like I always say, shout out Larry Nance, but there was no way he had no business seeing the finals. But LeBron took him there. LeBron's like, I know a place, and got him to the finals. Do you know what I mean? Went up against that Celtics team. Obviously, Tatum was a rookie as well. I mean, playing really well that year. They had Markieff or Marcus Morris, one of the Morris twins. I mean, the Celtics had a solid team. They were the ones that were supposed to get to the finals, but LeBron said no. Do you know what I mean? The level that he was playing at, his physical athleticism, like his gameplay, his outside shooting, his finishing in and around the rim, just everything just matched together until we faced Golden State.
Well, but be fair now. No, nobody's probably beating that team. Nobody in that year was beating that team, except
That's what made it so. That's what made it so disappointing because LeBron then goes to the finals. First game, I think he's had like 50 points, or
yes.
something like that. And then obviously Jr. done that whole timeout situation. But in terms of LeBron as a sole player, the level that he played at in 2018, I'd it'll go a long way for someone to match that. I mean,
So you don't even think his 2013, his 2009, I believe it was his last year with the Cleveland Cavaliers before he made that trade to Miami. You don't think maybe the 2016 year as well, especially his playoff form. You don't think any of those is coming close to that 2018?
it's just more so how well rounded his bag was. Do you know what I mean? In terms of matching his IQ with his physical athleticism. You know what I mean? That's where you get that magic. That's where you get the best player. or the best version of LeBron. You know what I mean? Because he always mentioned about how the game just slowed down for him. You know what I mean? He saw everything two, three steps before everyone else. You know what I mean? And obviously, you saw the size that he was at that time as well. He was literally just bulldozing past everyone, but he was so in control as well. Do you know what I mean? Just everything just matched together for LeBron at that time. I just didn't love the team that was assembled in and around him. I think it was the same year he played with D Rose and D Wade as well,
Yep, it was, and
in like the first
bear
half of the
in
season.
mind they got all of them old guys out there. But he said, "I'm not doing this. There's
It
no
just
way."
didn't work. It just didn't work. So then they brought in what, Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance,
Larry
and
Nance as well.
who else
Kyle
did they have?
Korver.
Wow.
Who else did they bring in
Obviously
that year?
JR was there as well. Tristan
Yeah, JR
Thompson
was
was
obviously
there.
there. Yeah, there was a lot of Laker pieces from what I remember, man. But
There was.
it was a fun little team. I remember specifically in the regular season game. I think it was the first one they played the Boston Celtics. All my days they were having fun. They were really
Was it
enjoying.
Gordon Hayward when he?
No, that was the very first game of the season.
Right.
Yes, I
It
remember that.
was.
Because I remember watching that and thinking, "Oh my days, Gordon's done," and he was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was beginning of the
That
end.
was.
Scary injury right there.
I
But
know. I know.
yeah, no, I remember they made the trades obviously for all the young Laker cats, and they brought in some other pieces in there as well. And then hey, they rocked up against that Celtics team, and they were enjoying, they were having fun, man.
100%.
So it's fair, and I can't. If the man says it himself, like who am I really to disagree? Because that was a really good year, man. I remember that pass as well that he did in LA. Funny enough, the one where he faked it this way, Julius Randle and them man ran this way, and then Zubac was running to the rim, or it wasn't even Zubac. It was another Croatian big man that they had at the time.
Yeah.
It was a mad play. It was crazy. Hopefully, I'll show the clip down below. But
I know exactly which one you're talking about
yeah,
as well.
oh
Yeah, I done
mate.
that. And then,
But
yeah.
at that point, I was just like, yeah, man, there's nothing these guys can do, really and truly.
No.
But it brings me, as we go into our Western Conference chat, we do have to still speak about the Lakers, LeBron James as well. Stateside, I might be the bearer of bad news. Maybe you're going to be the person to bring it up as Atalanta beat Chelsea 2-1. There you go.
I've seen that as well.
Um,
Ah,
I truly believe, unfortunately, we are seeing before our very eyes the decline of LeBron James. If I'm just looking at numbers, if I'm just watching the box score, less minutes, the least amount of minutes that he's played as a Laker since he's been in LA, averaging a career low in points, career low in rebounds, career low in assists, steals, blocks as well. Oh, stateside tough. I think we have to have an uncomfortable conversation, and it's not
the
like
sunroof is open as well.
oh, dog. Yeah, man. The black spray. It's not
Bruv,
working.
when he was doing the whole king thing, I'm like, bruv, take attention away from that
Chai.
sunroof, bruv.
You got all that money. Come on now. Come
That's what
on
I'm
now.
saying. Do the silencer or something. Don't do
Yeah.
this. Don't let us look up there.
Not
You know what I
bringing
mean?
attention to it. You
That's what I'm
know.
saying.
But I think there's it's not even an uncomfortable conversation because I think a lot of people have come to terms with, look, we're on the back stretch, the back nine of this man's career. He's given us 22, 23 years of elite level hoops. Literally been here and probably went up a level since he's been in the league.
And that's not an understatement at all.
No. He's quite literally been for at least the last 15 years, but probably probably the last 4 or 5, probably not, but at least 10. Best player in the world. Nobody
Right.
even
No
close.
question.
There's not been a level of that sort of dominance in a while. However, he still gives you moments here and there. The Philly game, for an example, he was really doing his thing.
Right.
But I think there's a slow realization that we're coming to the end of LeBron James, not just as an elite player, but in his words, he's always said that he doesn't want to be one of those guys that's playing and he shouldn't be playing no more. He wants to go out
Till
on
the wheels
top.
fall off.
Yep. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to be, I'm going to go on my own terms. Even if it's not up here, it's going to be something close to that.
Right.
Is this becoming more and more of a reality as the season is bleeding on?
I mean, you'd say that when obviously his 10 point record was obviously ended in Toronto, but then in turn though he won the game with a game winner as well. So it's one of those ones. If Rui had missed that shot, he would have gone to overtime. He would have got the 10. He would have got the ninth and 10th point. So win-win sort of thing. But then when you look at the Sixers game that they played last night or night before, 29 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists on 70% field goal, 4 of 6 from 3. He still has it. He still, whether you like it or not, LeBron still has it. And he's going to be, what, 41 in the next couple of weeks. So it's like, yeah, you might say our father time is catching up to LeBron. In certain aspects, naturally it will. But I think he's still a massive plus for this Lakers team. Do you know what I mean? I think moving forward, you still obviously want it to be Luka's team. You want to see the extent that they can get to with it, with Luka being the number one option with no LeBron around. But as long as LeBron's here with the level that I think he can still play at, bearing in mind they didn't start the season. I don't think he played in the first month and a half of the
No, he's
season.
played. I could probably count on my two hands how many games he's played so far.
That's what I'm trying to say. And obviously they've eased him in, trying to play him against like your Utahs and stuff like that to get him going. I mean, they're not playing him back to backs as well, so they're trying to ease him into the season. So his numbers aren't gonna look good. I mean, you're gonna get all time lows, but still, when he has it going, there's not many better than him in the league. There just isn't. And like I said, 29, 7 and 6 on 70% field goal at the age of 40, that's unheard of.
See, and you say all that, and still somehow Rich Paul, obviously his agent, super agent as well, has come out and said that we get what LeBron is. You know, I understand, and I understand what this Lakers team is. They're not contenders. They shouldn't be, one of those OKCs, Denvers, New Yorks. They shouldn't be in that conversation because they're just not that. So you say that LeBron is, impacting winning at, such a level in regards to him being almost 41. What Luka and Austin Reeves and the gang is doing, in a lot of people's eyes, people close to LeBron in his circle, they say that the Lakers is not ready to win. I just put out a video on the Stateside TikTok that, well, yes, they are, because they have three of the best players, at least so far, to start the season in the league. What do you believe in regards to their status as title contenders? Because obviously you support a team that's at the top of all that list by quite a margin as well, might I say.
Just about.
Are you looking at the Lakers as some sort of competition? Let's say if you was to meet them in the playoffs, would you take them lightly?
No, you can't take a team that has LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves lightly. You know what I mean? They've well, when I say I'm really talking about Luka and LeBron. You know what I mean? They've played in playoff series where they've come up on top, where they've been the number one option, where they've won a lot. So you can't take a team like that lightly. You know what I mean? They'll be very top heavy. I don't think they have enough depth though. You know what I mean? I think that's really going to kill them if they end up in a series with your Denvers, with your OKCs, with your Houston maybe. So as good as I think that team will be, especially offensively, I like that team offensively a lot, but they don't play fast enough. I mean, I think they're a team that will struggle a lot with athletic teams, which OKC just have athletes everywhere. You know what I mean, defensive playmakers everywhere that can make a player like Luka uncomfortable, make a player like LeBron, who's age of 41, uncomfortable. Reeves as well. He scores the ball really well. I like him a lot, but when he comes to playoff series and he faces athletic teams, his numbers drop. You know what I mean? He kind of plays within himself a little bit. He can't overcome that athletic pressure the teams will put on him. And if you're going up against OKC, you're facing that everywhere you look. But answer to your question, I can't take this Laker team serious. You'd be silly to take that Laker team serious, lightly. Sorry, because you end up getting beat. You know what I mean? Because Luka and LeBron, they're top talents, but the team as a whole, there's still a lot of question marks on JJ Redick. Obviously, his second season. Last season, played his starting five the whole of the second half against Minnesota. Still end up losing. I think they end up losing the game and losing the series. So it's like, can you maximize your bench? Can we have a better coaching performance in this year's postseason? So all those questions are still yet to be answered, but you can't take this team lightly because if you do, you get burned.
LeBron in the playoffs, you don't want to play around with that. I saw in that same 76ers game, by the way, he was literally calling out whatever they, final play was about to be. And that's like, this is something that he's been doing for what, his whole career, 20
You
plus
can't
years?
buy experience, bro.
Exactly. And this is experience of the highest order as well. 17 and 6, second in the Western Conference right now, tied with the Denver Nuggets. To say they're not title contenders or can be in the title picture, I think it's a bit silly. But hey, Rich Paul knows more than me, allegedly.
Some Lakers fans aren't really too not happy, but like they're not putting too much stock in the standings right now because what they've won 17 games, you're saying, but they've played a lot of weak teams. You know what I mean? They played Utah a couple of times, played Charlotte. They haven't played, obviously when they played OKC, and OKC saw what happened there. But I think coming up they do have some tough games. They got San Antonio tomorrow night. And they obviously, if they beat San Antonio, they could possibly end up facing OKC in the NBA Cup semifinal or whatever. So we'll see what the Laker team's made of in a playoff like sort of
Yes.
test.
Yes, a little bit of pressure,
But
a little bit under the lights, you know.
exactly,
Um, excuse me. Another team that could be use a little bit of the microscope at the minute is the Golden State Warriors. You know, I did want to bring them up in attention because where are they in the Western Conference standings? 13 and 12, 8 seed at the minute. Currently occupying a play-in spot, I should say. It's. I was looking at some of their numbers. Stateside Humph, actually. I'm gonna see if I can find them again quickly because what screams to me about the Warriors at the moment, they're not consistent enough, bro. You know, if I look at their record, it's win loss win loss. It's if you're
oof,
competing in the West and you're trying to be one of these top teams, consistency is something that you have to hang your hat on. But when
right,
you're looking at numbers like, 23rd in points per game, 28th in field goals made per game, 25th in field goals attempted, it, bro, I'm sorry, this stuff kind of stuff is not going to fly, you know.
right.
And I understand that Steph Curry's had to miss some time. I understand that Draymond
He
is going
has
to miss
missed a
some time.
lot.
Yeah, Draymond's going to miss some time. Horford's missed some time as well. Hey man, and I know Steve Kerr and Kuminga are having some classic, Kuminga out the starting lineup, out of the lineup in general. I
As I'm
understand
saying,
what the situation
he
is.
needed to leave, bro.
I
Kaminga needed
get
to
it.
leave.
I get it. But this is where I'm even going. Walk with me here. If these guys are that serious in regards to trying to win some sort of, championship, uh, playoff success, trying to get Steph Curry and the gang as close to the Western Conference Finals as they can, surely with all the numbers that I've brought up, with all the injury, issues and the chemistry issues that they seem to have as well, by the way, surely a trade is in the offing because if a trade doesn't happen in my eyes, Warriors ain't doing nothing.
I mean, bro, the Warriors will go as far as Curry takes them. And if he's not playing, that's where you're gonna see the inconsistencies in their record and their play. They have, I mean, they've won some decent games. Do you know what I mean? But in the playoffs, if they're eighth seed right now, what they face on OKC, if it comes down to it, you need Curry. You know what I mean? You need Curry. Butler by himself isn't good enough. Draymond with Butler is not good enough. Curry is what makes this whole Warriors team go. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised with the inconsistencies with the whole Kaminga thing, bro. We spoke about it way too many times. Like I said in the off season, I think he just needs to leave just to quieten down the noise of him and Steve Kerr. And are they going to play him? Why did they take him out in clutch minutes and stuff like that? That noise is a bit tired. But the Warriors as a whole, I'm not surprised with how inconsistent they are. Obviously, there's a lot of credit going to Pat Spencer right now. Do you know what I mean? He's coming to the starting lineup, has not looked out of place.
Yeah,
He
man, he's
plays
a
with
good
a lot.
player.
He plays with a lot of confidence, which I like to see in a player as well. So shout out to Pat Spencer. But this Warriors team, they'll need Curry back, Jimmy, and they'll need him back quickly, which would then breed a lot of the consistency in their play, and you see that in the win column as well.
Bro, you say that, but outside of Curry, their next highest leader in regards to points is Jimmy Butler, and there's a significant gap after
Was that gap?
Jimmy. He's averaging 19. The next person is averaging 12 and a half. It's not cutting the mustard. I'm afraid you're not scoring enough points.
Nah.
If that is what the splits are looking like, you can do all this ball movement and all that, but hey man, if I'm Golden State, I'm calling up Miami, Tyler Hero. What we saying? I'm calling up Milwaukee. Giannis is unhappy. What we saying? I'm saying that if you want to really make noise and you really want to put yourselves in contention with one of those teams that are up there in the Western Conference, you need to make it so that you stack the deck as you have done back in the day. Be the aggressive franchise that we know you have been, still can be as well. You have the assets in your roster, some of them that you're not happy about. You have all the pieces available to trade and go get somebody that's moving the needle, that's raising the ceiling and the floor at the same time. If you don't do that, I'm afraid to stay at home. All of these men can come back. Curry can come back, no problem. Draymond, all these men can come back. They ain't doing nothing. Sorry.
I think they're confident that if Curry comes back or when he comes back, they resemble some sort of like a solid playoff team. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost a thing where when you look from the outside looking in anyway, it looks like Golden State are just trying to ride pause this whole Curry train till the wheels fall off. Do you know what I mean? And then
I'd
they
say
get
it
into
like
like a
this.
very massive rebuild and so obviously see how they can get the franchise back on its feet again.
Everybody healthy on the Golden State Warriors. Are they beating OKC right now?
No,
Are they
no, they're
beating the
not.
Lakers right now?
Nope.
Are they beating the Nuggets right now?
No, they're not.
Are they beating the Rockets right now?
They're not. I mean, they'll put up a fight against these teams, but they won't beat them over a
Okay,
seven-game series. No, no
so
chance.
cool. At least three out of those four teams, you had to you didn't really think about it. You said they probably not beating them. But are
Right.
you telling me that if they make a trade for somebody that can put more than 20 points in the basket, that can give them a little bit of an extra edge going into the playoffs, a little bit of a different look that we've seen them over the last few years? Are you telling me you're not thinking about those matchups a little bit differently? Because that's what the expectations need to be there, right? Jimmy Butler was, talking in the summertime, saying that, what we've got here ain't good enough. It's not rolling. And people looked at them a little bit sideways. You got young pieces here, you got older vets here. Surely. Nah, he's right. And the record speaks for itself. These man, everybody knows what you're on. And if Curry's not there, then I'm sorry, it's over. So you lot need to, buck up your ideas, in my eyes, buck up your ideas, get somebody in the door, and then let's see what we can make shake as the season progresses. Because as of right now, as I said, for the third time, they ain't doing nothing that's currently constructed, even if everybody's healthy.
Now you're right because I remember we made this joke about how's Jimmy been there 5 minutes. I was already talking about the roster construction and all of
But
that
he ain't
stuff.
wrong. He's not
But he's
wrong.
not wrong. He's not wrong.
I
He's not
remember
wrong.
Mars told us as well. He said this is before they got Al Horford in. They said this roster is not it. Sorry.
There are some people that were saying, "Oh, Golden State." What was it? Steven Jackson or someone like that saying like Golden State's got the best starting five in the league or something like that. I think you were asking me this start of the
Yes,
thing, but
I
I'm
remember
like,
that. And I said no. But, and even if you look at that starting lineup, fine. You look at the rest of it, it's not good enough, bro.
it's not good enough. No, it's not. But it's too old. It's too old. You need a younger team and you need a deeper team. I mean, you need depth in that team. And Golden State haven't really got depth in a long time. In a long time. It's really the whole thing of bro Curry take us to the promised land. Do you know what I mean? And there's only so much of that he can do. I mean, Curry will give you some great nights, some great couple weeks, but then when it really comes down to it in a seven-game series, and he's got to the point where teams can slow him down a bit. I mean, they can slow him down a little bit. I
He's
mean,
old, man.
you have like he'll rest in like a game or two in a playoff series and be like, I'm gonna give my all in this game and that game. That could be the determining factor of if your team can beat Golden State or not. He's that yeah, that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, it's just very interesting with the Golden State Warriors, and we'll see how the season progresses for them. Speaking of older teams, unctions, if you will,
Sure.
James Harden just recently became a top 10 regular season scorer in NBA history. So congratulations to the bid. Not so much the Clippers because they're having, as we know, a disaster of a season. But second bottom of the West, 6-18 in the Western Conference. Yikes! It's very interesting when you come into James Harden. Just because I wanted to ask you, Stateside, and I saw this question. I believe it was on ESPN as well. Once he actually calls it a day, because I think we understand that, made man. The Clippers have come out and they haven't outright said it themselves, but reports coming out of the Clippers say that James Harden is probably going to be here for the rest of the season and onwards as well.
Right.
So this is more of a career, look back, retrospect, whatever you want to call it, because coming into, the top 10, MVP already in the back, multiple time All Star as well, was the face of a Rockets team that almost dethroned what some people call the best team in history, in the Golden State Warriors. When you look back, and I'm not saying he's anywhere close to calling it a day, but when you look back on the career of what James Harden has been in the NBA in his inception, since his inception, I should say, how would you look at his whole tenure as a whole?
I mean, I was discussing this on my live the other day, and I was talking about how James Harden we looked at. Obviously, there's always stuff talking about he puts up these crazy Hall of Fame type numbers in the regular season, but then in the playoffs, he's a massive playoff dropper. Do you know what I mean? You don't see the same level of production that he puts in the regular season in the playoffs. Maybe the whistle's different. Maybe he can't play up to the moment. The lights are too bright. But then I feel like this generation, I feel like we're too cynical in how we look at our athletes. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day, bro, they were looking. Charles Barkley never won a championship, but then they praise him. Do you know what I mean? They praise these players. They focus on the positives, and I feel like that's what I try, or that's what I'll try and do with a player like James Harden. You see the influence in how he's helped in terms of scoring. Do you know what I mean? The step back three, like you said, being the being the best player on the team that almost knocked down that KD, Curry, Clay Golden State Warriors team. Do you know what I mean? How his step back three, do you know what I mean? The Euro step, how he took it to another level from Manu Ginobili as well. Do you know what I mean? The beard, everything, his whole him as a brand. You know what I mean? He done a lot of good things for the game of basketball, and he's still doing it now. You know what I mean? Going to teams like the Clippers, obviously you had Kawhi, who's been riddled with injuries. Paul George had to leave. He's literally kept them afloat. You know what I mean? I don't think he's missed a playoff since he's been in the league. I'll have to fact check that. But ever since he's been in the league, he's always been in the playoffs. This year might be the first time in his NBA career that he actually misses the playoffs. So you see the success in that front of how of how he's been in the league. So you have to give James Harden massive credit. You have to give him massive credit because he's done a lot. He's done a lot for the game of basketball. They just stopped talking on Carmelo's name though. They're saying Carmelo, all he had was top 10 scorers in basketball, and James Harden's coming taking that from him.
Chill on my boy
They
Carmelo.
need to chill out on him, bro.
There's
But
there's a conversation I think that is worth having one of these days. It's probably not today, but in regards to isolation scorers and how much of an impact they can really have on how the game is played. Just because, by the way, in regards to what you said, 16 seasons in the NBA, 16 trips to the postseason. You're correct. He's never missed the playoffs. Probably will miss it this year though. There's a conversation to be had in regards to how much isolation players. Let's just take James Harden by himself. When he was in his pomp, and it was quite literally give Harden the ball, get out of the way. That style of basketball, wasn't. I'm not going to say it wasn't seen before, but to that level where somebody was as efficient as he was with step backs, with driving to the rim, going to the paint and finishing, going to the free throw line and making all his free throws as well. People weren't really seeing that. And then all of a sudden, once he started, actually taking the Rockets far in the playoffs, winning MVPs individually as well, people started adopting that. I can imagine, Giannis took a lot, even though him and James Harden have a little riff-raff here and there, I can imagine he took a lot in regards to what their offense is, especially when they have to space it out and they give Giannis the ball to operate to drive. I'd like to think, Luka has taken a lot in regards to what what James Harden has had to do in regards to give me the ball, let me operate in this kind of space, and let me make plays as well, because he's developed into one of the best playmakers in the league as well. So, just in we can have this conversation probably another day in regards to ISO scorers being a little bit, what's the word I should say? Poo-pooed on, I feel like, for no real reason apart from let's just have a laugh at this guy's career just because we can. I don't think it's really fair, just because I think James Harden has been that important to the development of basketball. I don't think it can be understated how much, of an impact and how much of a legend he really is. This is one of the best players that we ever seen and ever will see. Stateside Tough. It's very easy to, look at him and say that.
and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I think with a player that has influenced the game of basketball this much, that's won this much. Like I said, that hasn't missed the playoffs. I mean, obviously, people talk about his body and sometimes he comes to camp, not the best shape and stuff. Bro, he's been in the league for 16 seasons, been in the postseason all 16 times. Do you know what I mean? He's had big playoff wins, big playoff performances as well. So he's always there. Do you know what I mean? He's always there. If he didn't get injured, when he was at the Nets, maybe him, Katie, and Kyrie could have got themselves a ring. Do you know what I mean? If he didn't leave OKC as well, after his third season, maybe him, Katie, Russ could have run it back, could have got himself a ring as well. Now you see it from now. Now you ask the casuals how they see James Harden. You might have a completely different discourse on him. But like I'm saying, with what he's done, we have to look at it in a positive light. We can't just It can't just be a black and white sort of thing. He's put up all these points, but was a player of dropper, didn't win a championship, so I can't put him in this sort of top 10. I can't put him on this list, bro. It's hard to do what he's done. Do you know what I mean? Only a select few has done what James Harden's done. So I think you got to give him his flowers in terms of the influence he's had on the game of basketball, isolation scoring, and just winning in general in the NBA.
So there's a conversation to be had about ISO scorers and their real impact on the game, no matter what the social media says. I think there's a place for them always in the game. Stateside Hunt, we'll have that conversation another day. For now, he's blowing his nose again. Chai. He's getting
I'm
really
in the
mixed up.
blender.
Oh my days. Oh my days. Just like your PG in the finals last year. Shall we play again?
I'm in the blender. Let's play a game. Good. Yo,
Oh, matey.
I got to stick a kettle on after
I
this.
know, right? You're gonna need it. You're gonna need some chamomile,
Bro,
in your
I need it.
life.
I need it.
Oh, matey. This is a very simple game, and it's in regards to Chris Paul as well. Good ISO scorer in his own right, by the way, when he wanted to in his pomp.
Facts.
This is now I think me and you can both agree, and there'll be other people as well, that I'd like to think that Chris Paul, this is not it. It's not over in regards to at least this year, and hopefully getting on another team, hopefully to actually compete for a championship. So Adam, all I want you to do, I'm gonna list you 6 teams, or 6 situations at least, and you're gonna eliminate 3 of them. You're gonna tell me why, and you're gonna give me your top 3 best landing spots for Chris Paul before the end of this year. Can you do that for me? Can you do that for the people?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. The 6
Right.
situations are the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Toronto Raptors, the Detroit Pistons, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Houston Rockets, or retirement. Now, as this season pertains, I want you to give me first your bottom 3 options, eliminate some, tell me what are the situations he probably shouldn't be looking at.
I mean, I'll eliminate the Rockets, the Lakers, maybe the Timberwolves. So if I'm looking at Chris Paul, obviously a veteran, do you know what I mean? A lot of experience. I'm more so siding on the inexperienced teams, do you know what I mean? The younger teams, like your Raptors, your Pistons, obviously. More so the Pistons more than anyone else, do you know what I mean? Because you have a big guard in Cade who was a walking turnover last year. Do you know what I mean? So if you have a player like Chris Paul that can help you manipulate the defense in terms of your playmaking, you cut down your turnovers, you become more of a threat on that end, with the ball in your hand because your usage rate is high. If you have someone like Chris Paul in your ear, he's going to help you a lot. You know what I mean? Especially in playoff situations as well. Going to be like a calming presence in the locker room. And even though that might not be the farewell tour that he probably would imagine, I think he'll be a net positive for someone like a Cade. Obviously, as you saw with Shea in 2020, obviously slightly different environment, but still players like having a player like Chris Paul in and around the locker room will be very invaluable.
So you'd like to think that if you was to make a top 3, the Pistons would be your number 1, then your Raptors would
Yeah,
be your
just
number 2.
just just off of the strength of them being a very young team,
Mm.
and with a young point guard in Cade, I think Chris Paul will be a great role model for him.
Well, by rules of the game, you eliminated the Rockets, Lakers, and the Timberwolves. So you think
Yeah,
retirement could be an option he should look at as well?
it could be an option. It could be an option because if he's come out saying that I wanted to end everything, I wanted to end my NBA career at the Clippers, and obviously everything that's happened with that, then your alternative option, just hang him up. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he will. I don't think he'll take that. I'll be surprised if he does. But a team like a Pistons, a young team, go help them young boys out.
That's fair. That's fair. The Pistons would definitely be in my top 3. I don't think would they be my number 1. I don't know if they'd be my number 1. You know,
Out
I,
of the
I
teams that
I'm
you
not
listed there,
I'm not upset about the Rockets situation, and that's not necessarily to play, but that's to give a bit of know-how. I like to think, especially for people like your amens of the world who have to run point these days, especially when they like to play their bigger lineups. You need somebody who's gonna be the hub in regards to IQ in that situation. You're gonna have KD, but KD's job on that team, you need to score the ball. You need to shoot as much as possible. So he's not gonna have, I guess, a lot of quote unquote freedom in regards to thinking of everybody else and their roles on the team. Whereas if you have a Chris Paul, especially with obviously Fred VanVleet, who has to sit out, on the sidelines, you then have what a point guard is supposed to be, just an extension of the coach that's going to relay messages and tell you what he's seeing from his point of view, his very experienced point of view as well. Obviously, that could help the Pistons as well. I'd like to think it could help the Timberwolves. I'll be honest with you. And that's mainly because I'd like to think that the knock on somebody like an Anthony Edwards is that, not to say he's low IQ, but people would like to think that his playmaking can take leaps in regards to being compared to, or going to that next level in regards to like Shea's and your Lucas and your Jokic's. I'm not saying he can ever get to those levels of playmaker like a Jokic and a Luka. But if he could take a little bit of a jump, if he can soak a little bit of knowledge from somebody like Chris Paul, I'm not mad at that. Especially because they're going to be looking for, a point guard anyway. Even if they don't find one and they still find a way to get Chris Paul in the locker room, hey, I think that's a good plus for them, because then, that's a little bit more know-how in the locker room, and that could be the little edge that they need in regards to pushing them further in the West. Just me, though. Just me.
But then you've got Mike Conley at the Timberwolves, so wouldn't he be a good enough veteran playmaking point guard that Ant could do, or is he just chop liver?
I'm not saying he's chopped liver, but I'm just saying you can never have a little bit of IQ. The Lakers
Right.
won a championship with Rondo and LeBron James as the
Fair.
heads of their snakes, and they got along just fine. And I'd like to think anyway that if Chris Paul was in that situation, he'd be more of the higher IQ guy, if I'm not mistaken. If I had to compare him and Mike Conley, that's no knock on Mike, and what he's meant to that Timberwolves franchise in regards to them rising up the standards as their players have developed.
Right.
You can't beat you cannot beat a bit of Chris Paul if you're looking for that little bit more edge. Just me.
That's a fair point.
So it's interesting. It's a little mini game, But I like to think that Chris Paul's not finished, and I like to know whether people will believe his best landing spot should be.
Do you think he plays a little bit before he retires? Like, whether it's like garbage minutes or whatever?
I'd like to think that might be a thing that he'd want,
Right.
because I think one of the main reasons as well why he probably butted heads with the Clippers is that he wasn't playing a lot. And
Right.
unfortunately, the situation that it was with him and Ty Lue, the communication just wasn't where it needed to be. So he probably didn't understand why he had DMPs and he was playing 10 minutes less a game. I'd like to think if he goes to a team, it would be because they've promised him a little bit of playing time that he's going to be in the rotation. And it's not like he's going to hurt a team, I'd like to think, especially at this stage of his career. If he's really trying to win a championship, he's going to do whatever it takes for the team, to win and play the right situation, play the right type of basketball, make the right plays that you need. We spoke about the point guard epidemic that is in the league at the moment. If Chris Paul is right there and waiting, hey man, if I was a GM of a franchise, I would have made the phone call already, personally,
I mean, that is fair. That is fair. It's just because he's so young, he's so old. So it's
Yeah.
like you said, like you mentioned, if he goes to a team and he plays, then there would have been in the contract before he obviously signed that we are going to promise you a little bit of playing time, whether it's in garbage minutes, blowout games, stuff like that. You just come in, obviously, go up and down the court a little bit, get a little sweat on. But outside of that, I think his value will more so be on the bench, getting the ears of the younger guys, and just the star players and stuff like that, rather than just playing on the court. That's just him running up and down and getting a sweat. I don't see him in like valuable, important minutes,
Mm.
just because of the stage of the career that he's in.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Let's see, as they say.
We'll wait and see.
Um, Eastern Conference preview now as we get into it a little bit. The Celtics. I have been dissing the Celtics all year because
Let's not act surprised.
I just
I hate being an "I told you so" guy, bro.
here we
I
go.
don't want to come and sit here and say that I told
Ah,
you so.
here we go. They're third in the East as of right now. Some impressive wins as well. They've beaten the Raptors. They're beating the Lakers. They're beating the Knicks, the Cavs. The Pistons. They've been beating teams. Stateside umph. So it begs me the question to ask you: is this little bit of form a purple patch, or is this just, hey man, this is the Beantown that we're talking about? We don't play games over here. Is this the Boston Celtics that know, you know, as you've been knowing throughout the years?
I mean, bro, the Celtics, they do have some championship caliber players on their team. Do you know what I mean? They still have players on the team that have been there, done that. Their best player is a Finals MVP from 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And some will say he has even gotten better from what, a couple years back. Do you know what I mean? Having a chip on his shoulder this season where you almost feel like a lot of people are doubting him, in him leading the Celtics team to any sort of relevancy. I mean, a lot of people put the Celtics out of the playoffs or just have him in and around the play-in. Do you know what I mean? So Hugh heard all this noise. Do you know what I mean? So he's coming to the season, and this we're talking about Jaylen Brown in this case. That he's playing with a lot of chip on the shoulder. He leads the league in mid range shots. You know what I mean? Where you have players like your KD's, Shea's, and Jokic's, but he's balling out of his mind right now. Do you know what I mean? Defensively as well, he has it on that end. You have your Derek Whites, who's won a championship with them. Peyton Pritchard, sixth man of the year. They have got players there. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, they've got hungry young players that want to prove their point, and obviously, like I said, it's important for them to set a good foundation for when Tatum does come back. It won't be this year. It won't be this year. So if Celtics fans are holding hope that we might get in the playoffs and then Tatum will come back, let go of that right now, because Tatum is not coming back this season anyway. But I like what I'm seeing from the Celtics. I mean, they're very competitive on defense as well. And if obviously you've got your leader in Jaylen Brown with a chip on the shoulder, that spells for good news. Do you know what I mean? They're on a 5 game winning streak, won 8 of their last 10 games as well. So things are looking good in Boston. And to be fair, I've never really been the biggest Boston fans, but I I almost like an underdog story. Do you know what I mean? So quietly, I like the Celtics team.
Fair enough. Like you said, you hate to be an "I told you guys so." First of all, no, you don't. Still early. Still early for me to agree with you, though.
It is. But
Still
I'm saying
very
if
early.
if Detroit if Boston catch Detroit in a playoff series, I'm taking Boston 9 times out of 10.
And you'll be alone in thinking that because I will not be thinking that. I will give them credit because I do like what Jalen Brown is showing. Like you said, he's playing with a massive chip on his shoulder. Just because all the talk over the years has always been this is Jason Tatum's team. This is not your level, and he proved a lot of people wrong by winning first Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP in the year that they won the championship as well. And even then, even when he got the big contract as well, people were still saying, no left hand, playmaking is a little dodgy, you like to chuck shots when you shouldn't, shot selection is always poor. Well, this year, he's been excellent, and I give it to him. He's averaging almost 30 points a game. He's really, showing a lot of leadership intangibles that I'm seeing as well. He's really setting the tone offensively, defensively as well, doing whatever it takes to win. And they were sputtering earlier in the season, but as of right now, at the time of recording, it's not going so badly right now for the Celtics. It doesn't mean that it's going to continue just because I like to think the team is not, well-rounded and complete. Still could make some moves by this year's trade deadline, and we'll see. But, hey, I'll give them the credit right now. They're rolling.
I'm not surprised that they started the season off very slow because obviously if you've had the same team for the last 2 3 years and then obviously there's massive changes with Tatum being out and then obviously making all those trades with Porzingis and Holiday and stuff like that, you're bound to start the season off very slow. You still need games to try and find your feet, try and see what team are we going to be. Do you know what I mean? What our strengths, our weaknesses are. So then obviously when you've got what 25 games, 26 games under your belt, you finally got like a blueprint of how we're going to play. This is the team we're going to be moving forward. And I think with how they're playing, I won't be surprised obviously if they keep getting better and better and better. If they end up finishing third in the East, I won't be surprised. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, that championship experience, they will hang their hat on that. Whoever they face in the playoffs, obviously barring any sort of injuries, I still have them there or thereabouts. Especially after seeing what the Cavs have served up this season, pathetic. Yeah, I mean, and they've proved me wrong in a bad way. So when you're looking at the competition in the East, it's not great. So if I'm Boston, I'm happy with the position I'm in right now.
Can I ask you a question, actually? That's just come into my mind, and it's regarding Jason Tatum. If the Celtics end up a top three seed, do you have, I don't want to say reservations, but are you looking at it a little bit sideways in regards to, well, Jason Tatum with you, they were top three team in the East. Without you, they are top three team in the East. Are you then maybe starting to question, I guess, his value in regards to, is he really the guy that's taken them over the top, or is he just in a very, very fortunate situation? Even though I don't think that I think it's a fair question if they get that top three seed.
I mean, the talk on Tatum obviously missing this whole of the season was always going to be interesting, depending on obviously how the Celtics performed. If they didn't perform well, they'd be like, "This is why they needed Tatum." If anything, in the list of the best players in the world, they were gonna push Tatum up a bit because they're like, "Look at the Celtics. He's not there. They're crumbling." But now they're doing very very well without Tatum. There's going to be us saying, how good really was Tatum? I mean, did he really raise the ceiling of this team, or was it just a product of how good and how stacked that team was, which I think is unfair. You know what I mean? Because without Tatum, they don't win the championship they did 2 years ago. You know what I mean? When Tatum's fit and healthy, I think he is still the 1A. He is still the best player on that team, scoring the ball, playmaking, defense. You can give it to JB, but still, if the Boston Celtics want to win the big prizes, they still need a Tatum. So I'm not gonna subscribe to the fact that the Celtics didn't need Tatum or they don't need Tatum. Which I had a feeling that type of talk would come about this season if Boston did well.
So did I. So did I as well. But obviously, like I said, it's still very early in the NBA season to make those kind of assumptions. It's giving much. It's giving very much. Bulls 90, 94, 95 when Jordan went away a little bit. Scottie Pippen had to
Yep.
take over the reins. They won all those games. They've still made it with Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, didn't get it done due to some dodgy decisions here and there. But those are the conversations that will happen, unfortunately, when Tatum misses games and when the Celtics do well. But as we said, we'll see. We'll see in regards to the conversations in and around them. I wanted to ask you about the Milwaukee Bucks as well. Shout out Paige. Go listen to the last episode of the Stateside Report UK if you haven't. We spoke to her a lot about Giannis in particular because of all the shock waves he made in regards to not being happy with the Bucks situation, potentially wanting a trade. And he's had to miss time due to some type of Achilles injury. I don't think he's fully blown his Achilles, thankfully, but
Nah.
he's missed obviously quite a few games since we started recording. To be fair, with Paige last week in regards to the Milwaukee Bucks, it's not looking any better, to be honest. And obviously it wasn't, because that's the heart and soul of the team. He's the best player that they have. They've won 2 out of their last 10, 12 games. Look, the question I wanted to ask to you in regards to this stateside hump: what does life without Giannis on the Bucks, especially this year, look like? Do you think it's more of a thing where it's like, cool, we're going to trade Giannis and we're going to get the best trade package that we can and we're going to try our best to make these kind of playoffs? Or do you see it more of a situation in regards to, well, Giannis is gone, we might as well just blow this, the hell up, and then we're going to see where we land in the draft and we go from there?
I think it's the latter. You know what I mean? Without Giannis there, Giannis is Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Without Giannis there, yeah, Milwaukee don't really have a future or a near future because they're not doing much without. They're not doing much with Giannis, let alone without him. You know what I mean? They've built this whole team, which isn't a great team to begin with, to try and help Giannis do something in the East. And obviously, if you're hearing all these talks of Giannis wants to leave, Giannis is requesting a trade, Giannis has deleted all of this stuff from socials, Bucks related, then the writing's almost on the wall. Do you know what I mean? So then teams are like, oh, we're going to give you this package, this trade package. We want to get Giannis because Milwaukee just aren't serious. Do you know what I mean? So I see the Bucks looking to obviously blow everything up and start again because Kyle Kuzma's not in Milwaukee if Giannis is not there. Do you know what I mean? You have certain players that are there, like Miles Turner. He's not in Milwaukee if Giannis is not there. Do you know what I mean? So I think then you're going to start seeing these trades away to get Kuzma out of Milwaukee, Turner out of Milwaukee, because Giannis is not there, and there's just not really no real project that I'm looking to subscribe to because the I guess I don't know if it's a championship window, but whatever window you want to call it, is closed.
Yes, exactly. By the way, Kyle Kuzma can stay right where he is. think that's a good. I don't think that's a good trade. That's it. I think you should be,
Honestly,
if you could get anything for him, if you can get a box of biscuits, then fair enough, But I don't think you're even gonna get that for Kyle Kuzma right now, Shame as well because I'd like to think you're one of those people that you want to see Giannis in that Milwaukee jersey for life. It's going to be very strange if that trade actually comes to fruition and he's playing on another team, but. The facts are the facts. They're not winning. He's not happy. You can't force the man to be there if that is the case. The last topic I wanted to speak to you about today. I know we spoke about it before, but hey, man, the conversation is not going away. We look down the standings. I understand this. I understand that the Brooklyn Nets are where are they in the Eastern Conference? They're down there. They are
yeah, you have to look low.
13th in the
Oof.
Eastern Conference. If I may say, by the way, only 4 games behind the Bucks, so playing is not out of the possibility.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Don't worry about the team. Worry about the individual player. And who do you think I'm talking about? Michael. The possession ends here. Porter Jr. Michael.
Get the rebound.
Michael Porter Jr. Porter Jr. is averaging 26 points a game.
Hey.
Add in the 3.5 assists as well. Add in the 7-8 rebounds. You didn't like it when I brought All-Star potentially on the horizon for my boy. And I just need to check what the temperature is now. Until the All-Star break, we did Pistons Watch last year.
Right.
Nah. It's MPJ Watch this year. I'm lobbying for the campaign that he's going to be in the All-Star team because that boy's been hooping as of recently. You have to give it up to them, man. I understand that nobody wants to shoot the ball in the Brooklyn Nets, but he's doing it at peak efficiency as well. Might I be added. He's not just chucking up shots, chucking up good shots, efficient shots as well. All-Star Michael Porter Jr., please tell me the temperature.
I mean, I got to see this more consistently. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's not forget, before he came into the league, he was touted to be one of the top picks until obviously he had that back surgery, which kind of nuked his chances of getting that top pick. Do you know what I mean? He was meant to be a player that was supposed to be leading the team to good things, to playoff wins and stuff like that. But then he turned out to be a 3-and-D shooter on next to Jokic and stuff like that. So coming to the Nets, slowly but surely, obviously now he's found his feet in the league and got paid as well. We're now seeing the Michael Porter Jr. that a lot of people expected us to see when he came out of college. Do you know what I mean? But I got to see more wins for the Nets. You know what I mean? I got to see this performance more consistently. Don't introduce me to a vibe you can't maintain. Do you know what I mean? So far it looks good, but I'm gonna pump the brakes on it just a little bit. But I like what I'm seeing though. Do you know, I like what I'm seeing, especially the assists. I don't care about the scoring. We know you can put the ball in the basket. You 6'10", you can get rebounds. Can I see some assists, please, Jerry? Can we debunk this agenda that you don't like passing the ball? You know what I mean? So
man,
I want to see his
fourth on the
playmaking.
team.
I want to see him getting his teammates involved. You know what I mean? Showing that he's one of the best players on that team, which apparently doesn't take much to be one of the best players on the Nets. But still, you've come from a team that's won a lot. Do you know what I mean? You've played with Jokic for a couple of years now. So can you read the floor like Nikola a little bit? Do you know what I mean? Can you get in your playmaking bag? And then I'll start hearing your All-Star talks.
I'm just saying, Stateside of career high in assists. I understand it's only 3, but career high in assists, 40, almost 50% from the field, 40% for 3. It's looking good. And I did some digging as well as you went on your soliloquy. He's scored under 20 points just 5 times this season.
Really?
So you're talking about the consistency and you want to see more of it, at least to start the season. In all the games that he's played, he's been pretty good in regards to, he's played a lot of games. They've had their injury issues. I know Cam Thomas, who's supposed to be really and truly the number 1 option, but he just hasn't been healthy enough to be featured in a lot of the games. Michael Porter Jr. has had to carry a lot of the slack that, it's a lack of talent on this team. Naturally, of course, they're one of the worst teams in the league because of that. But I'm not putting any blame at the foot of MPJ in regards to this. I understand what he was in Denver. He had to play a role because you're playing with, in a lot of people's eyes, the best player in the world. But now you're in a situation where it's like it's a kind of sink or swim in regards to, look, this is the stigma that is around me. These men say I don't pass the ball. These men say I have a bad back. They say I'm just a shooter, so I have to show them I'm more than that. You know what I mean? Put the ball in my hands and let me show you what I can do. I vividly remember you were talking about Michael Porter Jr.'s game. This was months ago when he was still a Denver Nugget, and he was like, his handle's a bit weak. He puts the ball on the floor. He looks stiff on it. He's not, pause, but he's not, as fluid as he needs to be. And to start the season, I ain't gonna lie, he's got a bit of wiggle, he's got a bit of handle, he can shoot over anyone, he's got the confidence going. So you say, pump the brakes on it. I say, put your foot on the gas because it's coming, and I don't care if you don't like it.
It's just the opportunity that he has with the high usage rate. You were never gonna see that in Denver. Do you know what I mean? In Denver, small fish in a big pond. Do you know what I
And
mean?
even then, Jamal Murray's second option over there.
That's what I'm saying. Aaron Gordon, third option. Do you know what I mean? So you're way down the pecking order. There's a hierarchy, and you're all the way down there. But we go to Brooklyn, as he knew what he was signed up for. You're gonna be up there. Do you know what I mean? They were gonna pass you the ball in deep shot clock situation when they give you the grenade. You and Cam Thomas, you're gonna be the ones launching it. And to be fair, that's their sweet spot. That's what they love to do anyway. But in terms of having a high usage rate, you're then going to be forced to play make. I mean, you're then going to be forced to run set actions and stuff. Your handle, all of that stuff is going to be will have to improve. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll make a lot of mistakes, but there's no real jeopardy to it because of the Nets. Do you know what I mean? So that's obviously where he was always going to improve his game. You know what I mean? And I think the next team that he goes to that are that the next team that he goes to that are in and around the playoffs and that have something going for them, you see a different Michael Porter Jr. because of obviously the move to the Nets and how he's explored his game and try and expand his game as well. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just being a 3-and-D type shooter that he was or player that he was in Denver, if that makes sense.
It makes 100% sense. And I want to ask you one more question before we leave this episode of Stateside Report UK today. There's, especially when you go to the worst teams in the league, obviously somebody has to put up these kind of shots, and there's a, I guess the question I kind of have for you, and I'm trying to word it in my head, is just a thought that came into me just as you were speaking there. Do you think that this is a situation where it's like, obviously he's been given a lot of free reign to shoot the ball, and naturally he has to. He's kind of the only option that they really have to take high volumes of shots. Would you class Michael Porter Jr. in regards to a shot chucker who's just shooting the ball for the sake of it, empty stats type vibes? Because those were I could think of, Dennis Schroeder, for example, was the first person that came to my head when he was with the Atlanta Hawks and they kind of gave him the keys. Well, yeah, he averaged like 20 and 10, but it was even a little bit less than 10. But you could tell there's no way that he could do this as the number one option on any other team rather than the worst team in the league situation. Whereas Michael Porter Jr., Larry Markkinen as well a few years ago, were averaging 25 points and above. And I don't know if you're putting that down to, it's the era of hoops we're in. People can average 25. That's normal, kind of, now these days. Maybe you're in my boat and you're saying, this is like, give this a bit of credence, like 25 points per game on any team is 25 points per game. Or maybe you're saying, this is a little bit of, situational bias. He's in a good situation where he can chuck up shots. He's really just putting up empty stats. I wonder what kind of boat you kind of sat in regards to Michael Porter Jr.'s situation compared to what kind of player he is. Is he just a shot chucker that's taking advantage of a situation, or is there a decent player in there?
I've leaned more so to the latter. I think the agenda of how people saw him in Denver, do you know what I mean? Like when you get the ball, launch it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why they have all these jokes and all about his name and all of that stuff. But I'm just saying, I think there is a player in there. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why I try to remind people of the player that he was meant to be coming out of college in Missouri, but it's just that back injury. It just messed up everything for him. Do you know what I mean? To an extent, in terms of where he was meant to go and the player that he was meant to be coming out of college. But there is a player that he has got good basketball IQ, irrespective of what a lot of people think. But maybe he does need this opportunity in Brooklyn to, like I keep saying, just make mistakes, learn by his game, expand his game a lot more, and you see that those assist numbers actually increase him. So slowly but surely, a lot of people's minds are gonna change on Michael Porter Jr. and be like, oh, this is actually a decent playmaker. This is actually a player that cherishes possessions as well. Do you know what I mean? Can give you efficient 25 points. Has got a good basketball brain, and he uses that a lot better as well than he did maybe back in his earlier days in the league as well. So I don't think he's just a shot chucking. I mean, 25, bro, scoring 25 points in the NBA is not easy. Do you know what I mean? It's not easy. So, but I like what I'm seeing from MPJ. All star shouts might be a little bit too early, too soon, but if he keeps that consistency up, I might be able to hear what you're saying. But as of right now, it might be a slight bit too early.
Fair enough. Shout out to Tony as well, our Brooklyn Nets correspondent on the Stateside Report UK. I know they team stink, but I know he's excited, and I know he's on my side in regards to
Uh,
MPJ All Star, in the making. And I hope I'm right, because this season I've been wrong on quite a bit, to be fair. But we'll cross that bridge to another day. Season's not over yet. I can show I know ball one of these days. Uh, Stateside Hub, we've come to the end of this podcast.
it's a good episode.
Oh, good episode. Good. A lot of talking points as well. I like to think that ISO scorer conversation is one to be expanded on,
Hundred
because
percent.
there's a lot that goes into obviously becoming an elite ISO scorer, and then you could see how that bleeds over into the development of hoops in NBA. So there's a conversation to be had in and around that one of these days. However, thank you for listening to another episode of the Stateside Report UK. Please like, share, comment, rate, subscribe, all that jazzy stuff. Me and Stateside Humph back again next week.
Same time next week. Hopefully next week I'll sound better. I'll stick the kettle on, get a cup of tea before I start the episode. I mean, but all this flu and all that stuff, it's got me in the blender a little bit. But like I said, the show must go on. We'll see you lot next week on another episode of the Stateside Report UK.
Until then, take it easy, lads.